This episode of Vic's Basement is brought to you by EB Games. Support us by buying your video games at EB Games.
Welcome to Game of Thrones Coffee Talk. Boy, I'm awful loud this morning. I sound almost as loud as Victor Lucas sounds. Thanks, Vic, for damaging my hearing after all these years. Anyway, Victor's not here this week. My good friend Jason Margolis, who is, are you executive producer, supervising producer? What do you do on EP?
I'm the supervising producer.
Supervising producer. I've never actually known your title. I always thought you were the guy who just takes our dry cleaning to the dry cleaner.
Not yours, just Vic's.
Just Vic's, okay. And Ben Hankey, who has been a personal friend of Victor Lucas's for a very long time, and also he works in the game development community, though he works in the game development community in a very secret capacity. We won't talk about your current job right now, but you have worked at Slant 6?
Yeah, and I work for Microsoft now.
Oh, he does work for Microsoft now. I didn't know if we could say that or not. Anyway, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you. I understand you're a Game of Thrones expert. Jason, of course, I know has his PhD in Game of Thronesology. And so today I'm going to be leaning on these guys instead of arguing with Vic and Marissa. A nice break, right? Not having Vic and Marissa around. No one has burped, so that's what happens when Marissa's not here. No one makes any gas noises, or there are no extra gas smells that we don't normally smell.
You guys both have coffee. It smells amazing, and I didn't get any yet.
I do have coffee. This is called Coffee Talk, so I'm trying to get into it. Would you like some coffee?
I wouldn't mind. If there's any turned up, I would drink it ravenously. If that's
depends on how well you do on this Game of Thrones Coffee Talk. Specifically, we're going to talk about episode 6, which aired on Sunday. We had a holiday here in Canada yesterday, so the offices were closed.
It was Daenerys Day.
It was Daenerys Day. It's a Game of Thrones joke. The first of maybe 5 Game of Thrones jokes that Jason will make on today's show.
I'm sure we can do better than that.
We might be able to do better. That was a pretty good one, though. I'm hoping for your Game of Thrones joke. Listen, we've done this a little, well, only I have done it on the show so far, but we do impressions of characters on the show. And so I've done impressions before. I did an impression of Tyrion, and I also did Lord Baelish. And so I'm hoping that of the two of you, and you don't have to do it now, I'm just planting the seed up here, hoping it'll grow into a tree. So if there's an impression that you want to do or that you want to do, I would love to hear it. Not right now.
Okay.
You can just put it on the back burner, see if it bubbles up. Okay. Also on Game of Thrones Coffee Talk every week, not only do we have coffee, well, Jason has coffee and I have coffee.
I don't have coffee.
Ben doesn't have coffee. This is his first time on the show. This is the second time he'll bring coffee. In fact, you know what? Vic and Marissa might be fired after this. I might enjoy doing this so much with you two. That's it for those two. But we also have a treat usually each week on the show. And let me see. I didn't bake anything this week, but here I have some treats for you guys. I have some treats. Here we go.
This is artificial sweetener?
Yeah, this is for you. This is some sort of artificial sweetener. And Jason, that's for you in case you want to enjoy that.
Actual sugar.
And if anybody needs a wooden stick, I have that too. So, episode 6. Give me those.
Yeah.
You can give me those. You don't need to hold on to those. Unless you want them for your souvenir.
I can have it for my coffee that I don't have.
Okay. Do you take the artificial?
No.
Okay.
Black.
I drink my coffee the way Hodor would drink his coffee.
Which is Hodor?
Nice and dark and mysterious. You know what I mean? What are you laughing so much for? Do you laugh this much over at Microsoft?
Yes.
That's a very serious building. Every time I walk by it, serious things are going on inside. Why haven't you said anything so far?
Enjoy my coffee.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we had our snack, and now it's time to talk about episode 6. Now, the season so far, I don't really know how either of you feel about the season so far.
It's a quiet season.
It's quiet. Do you feel the same?
Well, yeah, but the last time they did that, they've obviously only got so much CGI budget to throw around. The last time we had a little bit of a lull is because something really big was coming.
When was the other time?
The other time?
There was the time where they spent all their time on the wall and it was just snow and the same piece of brickwork.
Season 4?
I think so. And then it built up to this like massive extravaganza with giants and Lord of the Rings smashing of forts.
Oh yeah, that was
all that
season
stuff.
4.
That was the big payoff. So if you have a couple of quiet episodes like this one, there's something big on the way.
Well, I feel like it hasn't been just one; it's been the whole season so far.
This wasn't a quiet episode when you look at it.
What?
Hi, Ben. I'm Blake. Nice to meet you.
Oh,
Coffee!
Thank you!
It's black. You want?
That's exactly what I wanted.
We like our coffee black, like we like our
You
castle.
will receive.
It wasn't a quiet episode when you think about it, though. I'm not talking about the elephant in the room at the end, not the Theon Greyjoy in the room. But it wasn't quiet because it seemed to set up a lot of things that we might not be comfortable with coming up. There's definitely a religious war brewing.
I don't know. I feel like the prospect of the religious war, you're right, it's been kind of a shadow hanging over the whole season.
So there must be at least 5 of these faith guys, and they have, what I can see, they have sticks.
They have
Cersei's
sticks.
giving them sticks, there's 5 of them.
And brandy.
Somehow these guys are keeping the King's Guard at bay, which the last time I saw them, they were muscly dudes in full armor. And
So are you saying it's a little nonsensical?
it's a little bit nonsensical.
Okay, well that's my role on the show. So now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But Ben has made a good point. I think he's right. I don't understand why everybody's so afraid of the cult guys, and I don't even remember. I can't tell. There's 2 cults so far.
Well, there's the cult that Arya's in as well. The faceless
3
cult.
cults.
Yeah, it's 3 cults.
Yeah.
But those guys are legitimately frightening.
Yes.
I mean, would you want to face off against a bunch of faceless men and women who can transmogrify at will?
Well, let's start at the beginning of the episode. We'll get to the end eventually. I know Jason's very excited to talk
No,
about
not
it.
excited. It's
I
uncomfortable.
don't even want to talk about it. But it starts with Arya, and we didn't see her last week in episode 5. And she's back, and not only is she back, one of the strange things about the show is they'll do a scene with somebody, and it'll usually be in one setting, and then we'll move on to another story. But with Arya, because we haven't seen her in a little while, we had 2 scenes back to back. We actually changed venues, and we moved, well, actually 3 times, because it starts with her washing the corpse, moves into her sleeping.
And she's super bored. She's like, corpse washing.
Arya's always been bored, no matter what she's doing.
But she's a little puzzled.
Yes.
She's like, why am I washing the corpses? She washes all of the corpses, all of the exposed parts of the corpses, doesn't wash under the loincloths or anything.
Well, we don't know. They just don't show that.
Who
Maybe
does the
not.
genitals?
I think they skip them.
They just go right over them?
I was thinking about this over breakfast. I was thinking, surely she washes all over them,
Yeah.
but maybe not, because maybe when you're making the inevitable skin suit, you probably don't need that part.
Skin suits? What skin suits?
Well, I mean, I'm
far
filling
are
in.
you ahead?
I'm just filling in the gaps. It's super obvious, right? I mean, she's going, what are you making the corpses with? So they've got a bunch of faceless people who can turn into other people at will.
Okay.
And then they've got a bunch of dead people that they're washing and then taking in a room somewhere.
Yes.
I think my head would go to, well, obviously they're making the skin suits that they use to dress up.
But do they actually use those for dressing up? It looked like they were just keeping the skin suits in like this Matrix battery thing.
There was the Matrix. Can we go to the Matrix battery thing? The library, face library.
Mm-hmm. The face library.
Well, or advent calendar.
How do you sign face out of the face library?
Well, I was thinking about this because I counted there is about 16 rows at least of faces, column after column, row after row.
That's how I picture Microsoft is. You walk in, it's just faces on all kinds
They
of
do that's down in Redmond, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that's them. So I didn't really think that they actually physically changed. I thought that they just learned how to sell themselves, like in a metaphysical kind of way, and somehow that convinced people that suddenly you're not actually, Jacques Nagar or whatever that
So it's
guy's
a trick
name
of the
is.
mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But now it's actually turning into a literal physical thing.
So the library, yeah. So either it's for reference. Although you can't see those guys at the top.
Like, yeah, they're too far.
You go in there,
gotta
you're like,
get a ladder.
what am I going to be today? And you got the face librarian, I imagine, and they're like, can I see something from column 78 and can I see something row 15?
I'd like to be an
row
older
15.
woman today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, when she's looking closely at the face at the very beginning, we'll move on quickly. We're just at the beginning here. But when she's close to the face and she's touching it, I just thought, well, that face is going to come alive.
Me too. I was waiting for it.
It was, I mean, for sure, it looked like an alive
I was going to
face.
bite a finger.
I thought she'd go, ah, something like
But
that.
no, it was a sleeping skin suit.
Yeah.
The rest of the body's probably like folded up behind the head. I was thinking,
That's what I thought.
It's like the catacombs in Paris.
it's like here's the face,
Yes.
Skulls.
and then
That's right. So then we leave. I don't have notes today. I did have them somewhere, but I think I'm sitting on them. But then we leave her, and then I don't know if we go to Jaime and Bronn just yet.
The Adventures of Jaime and Bronn, which kind of reminds me of like the Adventures of Hercules and Xena at this point.
Well, those guys are the light relief, right?
Yes.
Back in the UK when I was growing up, we had a couple of comedians called the Chuckle Brothers.
That's what Vic and I are known as.
The Chuckle Brothers.
Here in Canada.
Their main gig was moving ladders from A to B, going to me, to you. Bron looks the spitting image of Barry Chuckle, and so I always think of him as a bit of a comedian character.
Yeah, and he always seems to be having fun, no matter how dire or dark things get. He's always got kind of a playfulness, a glint in his eye.
Yeah.
And I noticed this week he's kind of like Cher. He wears a lot of eyeliner.
And he
I
sings.
noticed. And he sang for the first time this week. But
Actually, he sang before.
oh, has he?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
He's sung, usually drunk singing in King's Landing.
Boy, this coffee's good, guys. I had a problem with the Jamie and Braun thing, and part of it was the two of them dressing up as the guards, because it just, for some reason, I couldn't help but think of like Lucy and Ethel or something. Like, it's just like, what? I mean, I feel like I've seen this so many times. It's such a comic movie trope. They do it all the time. They're like, well, if we put the guards' uniform, I mean, I guess they do it in Star Wars. They do it in
Star Wars.
everything,
They're the stormtrooper. The whole Braun and Jamie section felt rushed and kind of cheap.
Well, whenever there's a fight scene, I always feel like it's disappointing. I want it to be
They had-
better.
It was
They
a little
had
bit
great
Star
fun,
Wars
yeah.
kid, right? The whole
Star Wars what?
Star Wars kid. Remember the guy who did the video with the pole and all the
Star
dancing?
Wars. Yeah.
He was pretending to be Darth Maul. That's kind of how the
The fight scene, it came out of nowhere. Like, there was so much build-up for the Sand Snakes.
Yes.
Like, there they are, they're Oberon's kids, and they're trained in all these things, and they can...
but did you see what happened to Braun?
Well, of course, that's the concern. The whole sequence really only pays off there, and now, everyone's worried about Braun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I had no idea until you mentioned it
It's
yesterday.
like 1 second or less of just little
But Oberon's, he's he's into the poison. And his daughter is going to be into the poison.
Yep. Same fighting style.
Yep.
He was known as the Viper. They're known as the Sand Snakes. They learned from him.
Braun's been stung.
Okay. You guys are right. And now we've got two poisonings, because that's what we skipped over is Jorah and Tyrion.
Right.
And Jorah's still poisoned. Obviously, he's got the stone face disease.
Jorah's always been kind of stone-faced. He's like Mr. Stoic.
Yeah.
That's fixable though. All he's got to do is find a maester. I mean, at the moment, it's
they
not
fix it?
Well, that's what Stannis' daughter had, right? They went to the maesters and they fixed it, and they left her with like
Super
one
Maesters. They had to go to the Super
Maester.
Maesters.
They had to go to the Super Maesters.
Do you have those in England?
Super Maesters? Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's part of the
You can just
national
zip
health
to the
story.
corner store and find a Super Maester.
But Stannis' daughter, she had like this whole half of her face was covered. He's just got. I mean, if it's on his wrist, if that gets fixed, it's just gonna be a minor talking point. I mean, these days it would impede which wrist he could wear his Fitbit on, and that's about it. It's going to be like, oh yeah, well, this is my crocodile wrist that I got from fighting a stone man. I'm sure he's got worse scars.
The concern with Jorah is that he's so stoic. He's going to even tell anyone. He's not going to get cured until he tells someone. He's like, like a Labrador. He'll just be quietly suffering in the corner until he speaks up and says, by the way, I've got this issue, and it might be too late.
Well, I know you wanted to talk about the cock merchant.
Yeah, well, I mean, how do you become one? That's there's like, they get kidnapped by these pirate slave traders, suddenly bring up the fact that in Westeros and King, in this world,
Yes.
they have cock merchants.
Yes.
I didn't know that was a job.
Is he under or over the Super Maesters?
I know. I think Super Maester and cock merchant might be on the same level.
It's like when you do the aptitude test at school. It's like, you could you're veering towards the cock merchant.
You could be a baker.
Listen, we got the results of your test.
You're a cock merchant.
Cock merchant, yeah. So,
At that point, I was hoping that maybe like the cock merchant might be Littlefinger, because that's a great name for a cock merchant. They're going to show up. There's Littlefinger. Oh, no, I know these guys. I don't need that cock.
yeah. We've already got one of those cocks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt a little.
I guess cheaper on Amazon.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do what I always do to Vic and Marissa, and they love me for doing it. And that's, I was a little disappointed by the cock merchant thing. It's just like the ways of the directors and the writers of the show, their avenues for offending us now, they're growing. There's not as many anymore. So it's just like, I guess there's a cock merchant, and we'll just call him the cock merchant. And so I felt it was a little too broad, or a little, just didn't feel like it had the intelligence that I normally appreciate about the show. And the other thing that really bothered me last night was Braun and Jamie. And you know, you think about the Sand Snakes and you think about Bronn and Jaime, and they're going to kidnap the girl, and the Sand Snakes are coming to kill
At the exact same time.
at
Very
the
coincidental.
exact same
I know.
time. Like, that is like screenwriting 101. It's just, why are they all here at the same moment? Why is this, like, it made me, I just sat there 20 minutes and I was so crestfallen that that's the decision they made.
The minute that the Sand Snakes were assigned to go after the daughter, at that exact moment, she happens to be in the park with her fiance,
Yes.
and they get sent out, and it's just when Jaime and Bronn arrive.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Did that bother you?
Yeah. Also, the fact that, I mean, that Tyrion was on his way to go and see Daenerys, right?
Yes.
And then what happens? He's having a bit of trouble getting there, and then Sir, what's his name? Ser Jorah, he turns up and kidnaps him to take him to exactly where he wants to go. And then they fight the Stone Man, and then they run into a little bit more trouble with their travel plans. And what happens? A bunch of dudes show up and want to take them exactly where they want to go. I mean,
that's 2 times that it's happened.
Ser Jorah has to get punched in the face twice to get there.
Yeah.
But other than that, But other than that, it was pretty plain sailing for them to get to the next stage.
Yes.
A little bit of fear about Tyrion. But then Tyrion does the Jedi mind trick. And these guys, they've got the weakest wills ever. It's just like, we're going to cut his head off. And Tyrion's like, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, you know, you need me alive. We need you alive. And then they're like, okay, keep him alive.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I don't know. Like,
The road trips, like the on-the-road little adventures, are starting to get a bit repetitive by now in this season. We've had, like, you know, Arya on the road. We had, you know, Arya and the Hound on the road. Now we've got, you know, like there's Pod and Brienne on the road. It's like we feel like, and they weren't even in this episode.
Yes.
But we're feeling like there's like these little pairings on the road of like crazy pairings. We had Jaime on the road for a while with Brienne. I'm starting to feel like, okay, I've seen all these pairings. Like, is that what the series is going to become? Every year, a couple of misfits go on the road together.
But then other people can seemingly teleport from place to place.
Yeah.
Like Marjorie writes a letter to her grandmother, and then she just arrives.
And Littlefinger got from Winterfell to King's Landing like in an hour.
Yeah,
he's all over the place, that guy.
He's all over the place. Yeah, that's right. He did leave Winterfell, I think, last week, and now he's already in Westeros.
He's in King's Landing like in a day.
Yeah, I thought it was further than that. But the other thing that was great last night, and we'll talk about Cersei and the trial, but I love seeing Lady Olenna again, and she's from, I don't remember who the actor is.
She's from the Avengers.
Yeah, she's
not
from
the movie Avengers.
No. The original TV
Avengers,
show.
the TV show created by the same creator.
Such a hot lady, and she was so beautiful. She was a hot British lady, I believe. And I mean, most British ladies are pretty hot. But seeing her again last night, she is such a fun character, and she seems to so enjoy, especially now she's being a little pushed by Cersei. She's in more jeopardy than I think we've ever seen her before. But she's such a fun character to watch. Yeah, I mean, I just love everything that comes out of her mouth. I love like her conversation with Cersei. She just has no patience for Cersei's theatrics or bullshit. I love that. I feel like she's kind of, and she expresses her admiration for Tywin, and about how she never really liked him, but he was just a guy who...
She respected him.
She respected him, yeah. And he was a guy who understood that, you know, rivals weren't to be always destroyed, but more of kind of tolerated and just understood. And I feel like she just understands everybody.
She's playing the game. Like, she plays the Game of Thrones. She's a master at it.
Yeah. And no one this week said winter's coming. And it was a nice break from that. We didn't go to Castle Black.
It's still coming.
It's coming, yeah.
You saw some snow.
Did we see some snow?
No, maybe not. Just in the previews at the beginning.
We saw the wedding night had snow.
Yeah, the wedding night. That's where it was. There was wedding night.
No Jon Snow this week.
No Jon Snow this week.
I guess he's on the road.
Yes.
No Stannis.
No Stannis this week. They're traveling.
No Stannis. No Stavros.
On boats, rather. They're going to hard home, right?
Yes. And they didn't take the Lord Baelish route, which, you know, is obviously a very much faster route.
They've got more people to travel.
I never do that, though. I never think, oh, how did Baelish get there so fast? I never do, but you're right.
Yeah. He's always very well maintained. He doesn't look like he's...
Yeah, he's always got a new
suitcase.
top that he's wearing, and he's got a haircut. And
he's got a good tailor. You know, he's always... He must go to the best stores.
And it was
Westeros.
funny to see that scene with him and Cersei.
Well, they're both making huge plays. They're getting less careful, right? Because previously, all of their little tricks, you know, Peter Baelish would be saying a little thing to someone and everything was very hush-hush. Now he's like full-on blatantly going and like taking Sansa to the Boltons and marrying her off personally, and then immediately going to Cersei via teleportation, and then saying, "Oh, I've heard that Sansa's like," and Cersei's being just as blatant. She's like full on going to the Sparrows and arming them, and then getting Marjorie and the other guy,
Loras.
Lawrence is put in jail. They're getting less careful. It feels like their undoing might be on the horizon.
Well, the Tyrells are they can blackmail them at this point, and that's the concern. Like does Cersei realize? I mean, she didn't. It feels like she hadn't thought out her plan. She's threatened that
she's winging it.
She's winging it.
You've
never felt with Cersei before. You always felt like she kind of had a master plan, and this time it feels like, I can take advantage of the Sparrows. I can do this.
Yeah.
Well, she's alone for the first time. She doesn't have her dad.
She doesn't
have
keep her on
Jaime. She
track.
doesn't have anybody to yell at, and so she can't yell at Tommen.
She's just letting her.
He's incapable of even helping her plot. Where it
He's
felt like
such a
Joffrey
leader.
at least might have conspired with her.
He did go like that, like as his wife was being taken out of the room.
Oh,
He looked confused.
He went. Oh no, it doesn't matter. It's okay.
It's like,
You go.
Where am I going to go to get pussy now? There goes my wife. And now what? Now what?
I just discovered it. Now it's gone.
What did you guys think of the trial? Did you enjoy the trial? Were you surprised? I mean, I guess it wasn't really surprising that
It was an inquest.
an inquest wasn't really a trial. The trial's going to happen next.
It's
Yeah.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Over very quickly.
Yeah.
And it was pretty obvious as well what was going to happen, I thought. I'm surprised that Marjorie, with all her wits, didn't see the trap that was being laid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing Marjorie's done, I think, ever since we met her.
She always felt like she was more plotting than even like Cersei. Like she had more going on behind her.
Yeah.
That she was one step ahead always.
So you got all these important people. You got Lady Olenna, you've got Marjorie, you've got the King, presumably the King's Guard, and yet these 5 Sparrow guys
Yeah.
It's hard.
just managed to just cart them off.
And they've got sticks.
And there wasn't even a face-off between Dana Rigg and Jonathan Pryce. Here you've got like two amazing actors
Face
with
off between
like
who?
just some sort of like between the two actors, between Lady Olenna and High Sparrow. There could have been more. Here we have like two like kind of classic iconic actors.
They don't say anything to each other.
No.
I don't think they exchange a single line. I don't really. I know we get to Winterfell again pretty quickly after that. I don't remember if anything happened in between, leaving the sort of inquest to Winterfell. Were there any things in between that you guys remember?
They didn't really have any other
Yeah.
plots as far as, or if there was, it wasn't memorable.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen with Arya at this point?
Well, they're going to have a challenge to find another full actor to play her with a different face. Because
Okay.
I think she's the second smallest cast member behind Tyrion.
Okay, really? Wow.
I think
Okay. So
She'd have to play somebody else young or... And she was checking out the old lady faces, which I guess could work. Right? That's what she was gravitating towards.
Well, she did just help, assisted suicide for a young girl. She could play her.
Right,
I
that's
will-
actually true.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning, I know we talked about it already, but I love that scene when they're in the corpse washing room, and the girl starts telling her the long story. She's also from Westeros. She also has a
Yeah.
father, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm buying this story. And then all of a sudden, I realized what was happening, and Arya is buying this story, and I'm just like, oh my god, these people are so good. And that's what made me think that it wasn't necessarily a physical transformation. It was just kind of a, you just sell it. You just figure out who you are, and you sell it.
And Arya can't sell a lie yet because they
Not
can
yet.
tell when she was lying when she played the game with her.
But yet somehow she passed the test when she was lying to the little girl.
Yeah.
She was allowed out of the room, right?
Yeah,
The fa-
and then she got to see the Hall of Faces
She got to
after
see the
that.
Hall of Faces.
It's a complicated episode. It's big and it's broad. Lots of things happen. I mean, every week that's true. And then, of course, it ends. I mean, let's get to the ending and just get it done. It ends in a way that you kind of... I wasn't surprised by what happened. I mean, I knew that it was going to be bad, and of course it's bad. But
Sansa has bad luck with
Sansa has
guys,
so
right?
many... She has so many bad things that... Worse
She's
things have
definitely got
happened
a
to her.
type.
Well, Tyrion was
Of terrible guys who she's drawn to.
She's not drawn to them, and Tyrion was nice to her.
Tyrion was
Tyrion
nice.
was nice.
Yeah, that's true. He's turned out in retrospect the nicest guy who she probably meets over the course of the show.
She realizes that now.
Yeah. She starts saying nice
She
things
threw him a
about
bone
him.
a little bit late.
Yeah. But the show ends with a rape.
Yeah.
And it's Ramsay Bolton now, who's her new husband, and he makes Reek stay in the room to chaperone. I don't know.
To punish him.
It's punishing both him and Sansa.
I don't really remember, and I watched the first season twice, but that's the only season I watched twice. I don't really remember their relationship, and I don't know I don't remember what they went through or why. I know that she was at Winterfell when Theon was at Winterfell, and
They grew up together. I mean, he's like a big brother to her.
But I don't remember them having scenes together, or I don't really understand why it's such a. I don't understand.
Well, he would have been a babysitter to her in some ways. He would have been the big brother. Maybe we didn't see that many scenes of it, but he would have been like an older brother, taking care of her, teaching her things.
Yeah. So Sansa gets raped.
This has to be the biggest test yet of Reek's, the Ramsay's control over Theon's mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest test. I kind of wanted him to just snap and go and.
Well, you feel like he's going to at some point. How much is too much, and how much farther does he have to go before he can shift gears and make a decision for himself again? But you feel like that's one of the big stories of the season is Reek is going to become Theon again at some point.
Well, he was even called Theon during the wedding, and there was this kind of flicker in his eyes when he was addressed when he was allowed to be Theon.
Yes. Favorite moments from the last episode? I guess we've had 48 hours now to think about it.
All the faces.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cock merchant.
Cock merchant.
Yeah.
Why is that your favorite?
Do you think you'd use that as a pickup line?
Yeah.
I mean, they've just added this in. It's like, oh, and by the way, a dwarf cock has magical properties. I mean, wouldn't he be hunted like Rhino?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hopefully people don't think that that's actually true. I know a lot of people have a little bit of difficulty judging the boundary between myth and reality.
Apparently, also dwarfs have regular-sized cocks, which I learned.
Well, that's what he was emphasizing.
Yes, he was. But that's enough cock talk for today. But
this is an interesting episode to talk about the reaction, though. Have you guys seen what some of the reaction has been?
No.
I
just had my reaction. I wanted to hear your two. That's all I care about.
Not my own. Well, I mean, it's my own personal. But I mean, the ending was so uncomfortable. People were lashing out online instantly. To the greatest degree I've ever seen people lashing out. It was interesting seeing amongst Vancouver people last week. There was a lot of pride in the fact that a local cinematographer shot the episode, and people were posting screen grabs of the opening credits. This week, those very same people were lashing out at the ending, which is an ending you know that is coming. It's an ending no one wants, and it's an ending that is not in the books. And
wow, so they added that.
They added that. They did a variant on the books. Yeah. It's not Sansa who marries him in the books. And
you can tell though, right? That whole storyline it feels out of whack with the rest of
there's a lot that feels out of whack this season just because it's deviated from the books. And I don't know if that's just because we're seeing the writers take control for the first time, the writers of the series take control. But the reaction, I mean, it was a horrific scene that I don't think anyone wanted to see, and thank goodness they showed it through Theon's eyes, which, not to condone it, but it was just the camera. I mean, it was a horrible scene. Yeah. But this show has now done this 3 times, and it's just kind of odd that they're choosing to attack their female characters this way,
especially after building them up.
Especially with Sansa, who's gone from suffering to becoming a powerful force, who dyed her hair black. When she gets her hair black, the blackness in her hair is washed away and now she's attacked again. It just felt like this was like them beating up on Sansa, and it was I think that made it. I mean, you can't make it worse, but it made it worse. It's a horrible thing that happened to her.
I don't know. It's like a show that is a raw experience. It's clearly like not quite prehistoric, but it's much closer. Time-wise to a more animalistic, kind of impulsive age. And so, I mean, I guess I don't know. I wasn't really like nothing didn't seem shocking or surprising. I feel like so many women have been raped and stabbed on this show, and so many men have too. And I mean, this
bad
season,
things have happened to men for sure.
this season seems like it's really been about women really feeling their power for the first time. And you see Cersei is the only one in charge at King's Landing. I mean, she's the only adult who's making decisions there. You also have Daenerys, who is having a challenging time, but she's a really powerful lady. And now you get this new group, and I have to say, I'll just say this, and we got to wrap up pretty quickly. I'm a little disappointed by the Sand Snakes, honestly. I know they may or may not have poisoned Bronn. It doesn't matter. I mean, if he goes, I'm not going to feel sad. He was a fun character for a while, but I'm not going to, it's not like Robb Stark, like, oh my God, how could they do this? But the Sand Snakes, they're like women who are acting like men. And I just think, if you want to do something really shocking, show me a female character who is terrifying in a way that I've never seen before. I don't want to see just women put on a mask that makes them have a mean face the way that men have mean faces when they fight each other. I want them to do their own thing, and I don't know what that is, but the show has been good at striking out into uncharted waters where they're like, well, they're not men, and so they're going to be terrifying in a different way, but these are a group of women who are just terrifying the same way that men are. And that
Marjorie has never been afraid to be very feminine and very tough.
Well, I mean, yeah, for sure, but I don't know how they are violent together in a way that's unique to their gender. But I don't know, that like the Sand Snakes, I just feel like
we don't know them well enough. Yeah. I know they're fan favorites in the books, and it felt like there's a lot of build-up. And I understand in the books there's far more of them. And they're this great little, military wing akin to the Faith militant, probably.
Yes.
But here we meet three, and they have like one meeting and a fight, and we're expected to relate to who they are.
Yes. I'm a little disappointed in the season so far. That's me. I do that every week on the show. I feel like last night, though, there was a little bit more of a pulse. It felt more alive than the previous 5 episodes. I feel excited, like we're getting somewhere finally. But I feel like it's maybe 1 or 2 episodes too late. I wish that we'd had this episode a little sooner. I wish we'd gotten to it a little more quickly. But I don't know. That's just me. How do you guys feel? Are you guys satisfied so far? I mean, I know you're a fan and you're a fan. Are you guys so far feel like season 5 has been doing what you wanted it to do?
For the most part, yeah. I didn't really like the direction the Bolton story went with Sansa yesterday. But I'm looking forward to... I really like the way that Jon Snow's been developing as the Lord of the Night's Watch. Excited for the hard home part of the story, which is coming. I think that's going to be really cool. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm looking for the big payoff that is coming. Just based on the ebb and flow of previous seasons, I think there's probably something spectacular on the way. This is a little bit of the the Walking Dead farm right now.
What about you?
It does feel like it has to be building up to something bigger. It doesn't feel like, and maybe we felt disappointment in this way with previous seasons. This feels like the quietest season so far of all the seasons of the show, and it's coasting a bit in reputation. But reputation also says that something's going to happen. If something doesn't happen, okay, this will be a disappointing season. But I trust enough in the team that they can surprise us with something, and they have to. And if anything, this last episode probably set us up for what these surprises will be. Whether it's Theon snapping, whether it's Arya discovering a power, something is going to happen.
I don't even know what would surprise me anymore on the show. I don't know.
The surprise is going to be something that we can't even see coming.
It always is.
It always is. I mean, it's going to be...
You know it.
I mean, the horrible thing is that it's going to be Theon attacks, Ramsay Bolton, and he does something, Bolton gets the upper hand. We don't want that. It's going to be, if Bolton survives this season, that's a surprise.
You remember the guy with the burned face who Arya is with for a long time? I don't remember.
The Hound.
The Hound, yeah. I feel like he's still alive.
He might be, yeah.
And if he comes back, that would be surprising.
The Mountain's still alive. They've been they've hinted at that enough.
Yeah, he was under the sheet
He's
in
under
the,
the sheet.
in the Supermeister's office.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Supermeisters can do anything.
Listen, that's it for episode 6 of season 5. I'll get these numbers straight someday. Ben Henke, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Get back to work at Microsoft.
Okay.
Make something very cool today. And Jason, you just go in the other room. Just get out of here.
Oh, thanks
Thank
for
you
the coffee,
both
guys.
for being here. And you know, actually, no, Vic will be here next week. You can come back next week if you want to. Do you want to talk to Vic about this? He can't remember any of the names of anybody. So
That would be good.
Yeah, Marissa won't be here next
and
week.
Marissa won't be here, so we'll definitely have room. Maybe we'll do a 4-person one. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Enjoy the rest of your coffee, and we'll see you next week.
Vic's Basement would like to thank its sponsors, EB Games, Nintendo, Xbox, and Gameloft, makers of Dragon Mania Legends, which you can play for free right now.